Someone asked me on an interview, I was on an interview the other day and asked me, am I a feminist? And I was like, what does that mean? Not that I don't know what that means, but I think that the battle of the sexes is actually a distraction, in my opinion. I believe that when I think about power and the power theory, I understand, because I've coached women for the past how many years. I'm a woman, so I understand that we have it different than men. I understand that when we talk about a man being powerful, people feel confident in that. When we talk about a woman being powerful, people feel nervous about that and want to give disclaimer and say, hey, I'm telling you to be powerful, but not like the women on these reality TV shows. I'm telling you to be powerful, but that doesn't mean you need to disrupt. That doesn't mean you need to be emotional. So there are all these other caveats that we add, and I understand how society wants to police women, I understand all of that. But when I talk about power and I think about power, I think of it in spite of the societal things that are holding us back. When I think about power and I think about the woman with the issue of blood, and I think about the fact that she could have sat in her house and thought to herself, this is not fair. If I was a man, this would not have been happening to me. If I was a man, people would have solved my problem. If she had all the rights to really, if I was a man, I would not be looked as unclean because of the blood. But I believe that all of that comparison, what it does is actually dilutes power and takes away your power. What she did instead was saying, I understand all that, but none of that is going to solve my problem. Instead, I'm going to activate agency. In spite of all of that, in spite of what the people say, in spite of what I've been taught, in spite of all the things, I'm going to solve my problem. Okay? I'm going to go close to the power source, in this case, Jesus, and get my healing. And so for me, when I think about power, I don't think of it as the end goal. I think of it as the fact that you need power. You need to be powerful. You need power. You need to be powered up in order for you to complete your mission on earth. You cannot be powerless and complete your mission. You cannot be in hiding and try to lead a revolution. The school you want to start, the book you want to write, the promotion you want requires you to tap into your power. And so, do the men make more than you do? Sure. Do the men maybe have it easier? Perhaps, depending on who you're asking. But that conversation does not take away from the fact that you are going to need to go through the phases. You are going to go from feeling powerless, feeling you don't know what to do, feeling you're hiding in plain sight, to hearing the whisper. Maybe this video is the whisper. Maybe you had a dream. Maybe a mentor saw something in you. But there's a whisper that says, maybe there's more to me. Maybe I don't have to be in this situation. You're going to have to say yes to the whisper and then get into your activation mode. I'm activated. I understand there's power. I understand that power can move through me. I understand that there's even level to my power. I understand that in certain situations I'm performing at 20% when I could be at 50%. What does 100% look like for me? I understand that I need to work through that. I need to work through my fears, all of that. And then I understand that now that I've figured out how to embody power and walk in power, right? Now I understand that I'm called to multiply. That's where I want to live. Whether the other conversations to me still are going to lead you to this. Once you figure out how society holds you down, holds you back, holds you up, is worried about your power, you still all need to come through these 4 steps to fulfill your purpose and your destiny. And so I don't get caught up on all these questions around all that. I get caught up in the fact that we've all been given gifts. And at the end of our lives, we are all going to be asked to give account to what we did with those gifts, period. You're not going to sit and tell God, well, the issue was, no. What did you do with my gifts? What did you do when fear showed up? What did you do in the face of oppression? What did you do? We are going to still have to answer these questions and walk that path, irrespective of what society says. And that's why I think that the gender war is actually a distraction to purpose. I really believe that. I think that the goal should be for all of us to stand in our power, men, female, to stand in our power so that we can go about doing the business of the kingdom and what it is that we are called to do. All right, I'll talk to you later.